שלום לכולם. אני רוברט להיאני, בוגר המחלקה ואומן וידאו, והיום אני הולך להקרין לכם עבודת וידאו חדשה שהיא חלק של התערוכה הראשונה שאני עושה עכשיו בבית האומנים בירושלים, וכתבתי טקסט באנגלית, אז כדי לא להתבלבל אני לא אעשה תרגום סימולטני, אני אקרא אותו גם באנגלית. So first of all, I feel very honored to be here today and would like to thank you, Sharon Balaban, for inviting me, Asaf Ashiri, Ronen Liveman, Sarah Jen Hatukat, head of the screen-based art department, all the students who are here, teachers and artists. I feel very honored and very excited to be here. Today I will show you the last video work I did, which I called Printed Circuit. So maybe we can lower the light there. So Printed Circuit is the new work I did, and it is part of the exhibition right now I'm doing in Beit HaOmanim. It is screened along with my final work in בצלאל, מתנתו של היתום, שאולי חלק מכם ראו שנה שעברה. So just before starting to screen the work, I would like to say just a few words. During those days, I kept hearing in my head the word narrative, and I felt it was a great opportunity for me to understand more about the narrative in my video works. The question which first came to my mind was, where is the narrative? And not what is narrative? Where is it in my works? And as a view for today, I'm sure that by the end of the day I will think all the things, given all the lectures we're going to have and all we already had. But as a view for now, I believe that narrative is not necessarily inherent to a film. I believe narrative is a reaction between the viewer and the piece. As a video artist, I do want the viewer to meet a thought, an impression, or sometimes an emotion. And I believe the viewer will always meet with his own or her own narrative, whether he observes a static sculpture or moving images. In the open gift, okay. In the orphan's gift, מתנתו של היתום, העבודת גמר שלי בבצלאל. I tried to create a relation between the architecture of a modern tower in Jerusalem, מגדל העיר, במרכז העיר, and the French cultural heritage that the Jews from Algeria received in 1870. This is a frame from the film, and this is מגדל העיר in the center of Jerusalem. The work deals, among other things, with the transmission of cultural heritage through generation, from Algeria to Paris and to Jerusalem, with מגדל העיר. For this film, as well as for the one we're going to watch now, I use the camera movement as an important tool for connecting different places or objects. This caméra vivante, in French, living camera, המצלמה החיה, looks for different axes of motion and allows me to construct a theoretical narrative, רעיוני. In parallel to this more abstract narrative, we hear through testimonies the traumatic story of a 5-year-old child who had to leave Algeria alone during the Independence War. This child happens to be my father, and he is not present in the film. Those are frames from the last work from the orphan's gift, מתנתו של היתום. This is one of the frames in front of מגדל העיר. This is the architect of the מגדל העיר, and this is my grandfather. Printed Circuit is the new work I created this year, and it is the result of my encounter with my father in Paris. I meet my father once a year in a restaurant, and this year I traveled with my camera. As the other work, Printed Circuit also deals with transmission, but on a different level. It deals with the biological transmission and the place of the father. In this work, I attempted to imagine mechanisms involved in the relation father-son and work with the camera vivante, living camera. Those two works are now in the exhibition that I called Preconditioned Tracks, Maslulim Mutnim. It is obviously an echo to the heritage we receive, and we are conditioned by it, but also an echo to the tracks of the camera and its movement, which also seem to be conditioned in both of the works. I'm sure that if you go to the exhibition, you will have a different experience of the narrative, because you will be able to watch two films at the same time, or one after the other. But today we will just watch one, and I'm sure that the narrative will be different and interesting. So, שתהיה צפייה נעימה ותודה רבה.